Hi, everybody, and welcome to day 8 of our journey to understand how God meets your 5 deepest needs. And He does that through getting you connected through a local church family. Specifically, you need a family built around God's 5 purposes that Jesus commanded in the Great Commandment and the Great Commission. Now, some of you may just be joining us, so let me remind you there are 3 important parts to this journey of your spiritual growth. First, I need you to watch my 7 weekend messages at Saddleback Church, and you can catch the first 2 that I've already taught online at saddleback.com. Second, this week I want you to read chapters 2 through 8 in the book, The Purpose-Driven Church. You can get it on Amazon, download Kindle or whatever. Not PD Life, Purpose-Driven Church. And third, watch these 2-minute daily devotionals for an inspirational boost every day. Now, this one will be a little bit longer because I'm starting the week giving you some instructions. But as I mentioned last week, on the weekend, in the message there, I'll give you the big overview of how God meets each of your 5 deepest needs through His church family. And then each day during the following week, like this week, I'm going to give you practical details. For instance, last Sunday, I shared an overview of how your 5 deepest emotional spiritual needs are met by God through the 5 purposes of His church. And we began by looking at the purpose of fellowship. That God never intended for you to go through life alone. God doesn't want you to be lonely. In fact, God hates loneliness. It's the first thing He said. It's not good for man to be alone. You need the support of other people in God's family to be spiritually healthy. And I taught you last weekend 5 specific ways that God intends for His church to support you. Now, each day this week, I'm going to share with you one way each day that you can deepen your fellowship with others in order to get the full benefits. So if you want to know how to build relationships, tune in every day. Now, let me start with a verse. Colossians 3:15 says, each of you is a part of the body of Christ, and you were chosen to live together in peace. Psalm 133 verse 1 says, how wonderful it is and how pleasant for God's people to live together in harmony. Life is meant to be shared. God intends for us to experience life together. And the Bible calls this shared experience fellowship. Now, the problem, is that this word has lost most of its biblical meaning. Fellowship now usually refers to casual conversation or socializing or food or fun. And, people say, where do you fellowship? Means where do you go to church? Or stay after for fellowship usually means wait for refreshments. But real fellowship, koinonia, is so much more than just showing up at a service. It involves experiencing life together, unselfish loving, honest sharing, practical serving. Real fellowship involves sympathetic comforting and sacrificial giving and all the other 56 one another commands that are found in the New Testament. Now, when it comes to fellowship, size matters. Yep, smaller is better. You can worship in a crowd, but you can't fellowship in a crowd. And once a group becomes larger than about 10 people, somebody stops participating, usually the quietest person, and a few people are going to dominate the group. So here's my assignment for you today. For this week, I want you to form a small group of 2 or 3 people to go through this study together. We're better together. And tomorrow, I'm going to start sharing with you an ingredient each day of what is true community, what is real fellowship. In a world of fake news and fake truth and fake fellowship, we're going to talk about how do you build real relationships, how do you get close to people. But you got to get somebody to listen to this with you, otherwise it's worthless. You can't listen about fellowship and not have fellowship. So you might want to just forward this link, post it on social media, and ask, does anybody else want to learn about and practice true community with me this week? Do that, and we'll see you tomorrow.